In a stunning confession, Ralph Goff, former CIA Chief of Operations for Europe and Eurasia, has ripped the mask off the West's Ukraine strategy. The goal, he says, was never victory. Just enough weapons for Ukraine to bleed, not to win. They gave the Ukrainians these weapons, but they never gave them enough to win. They only gave them enough to bleed, Goff told The Times. His blunt admission lays bare the brutal calculus behind Western aid.
They gave the Ukrainians these weapons, but they never gave them enough to win. They only gave them enough to bleed.
Rather than crushing Russia, the West fed Ukraine just enough to drag the war out, ensuring Moscow's pain, but not Ukraine's triumph. The cost? A battlefield soaked in blood and no end in sight. Why didn't the West push harder? Goff says fear ruled the day. Fear of Russia's nukes, fear of escalation. So the bleeding continued, by design.
They allowed themselves to be bamboozled by Vladimir Putin and his nuclear saber rattling.
From the Kremlin's view, it was clear. NATO wasn't defending Ukraine, it was baiting Russia. Goff's remarks now lend disturbing credibility to Moscow's long-standing claim.
Moscow understood from day one. Russia wasn't facing a sovereign opponent. It was battling a Western-engineered tip of the spear.
Ukraine, meanwhile, bears the cost. With cities in ruins and troops trapped in kill zones, the so-called strategy has turned into a slow-motion slaughter.
By the end of the summer, the entire front line will essentially be a 20-50-kilometer death zone, a lethal environment where you can't move.
Once a key player in CIA operations, now warns. This wasn't just poor planning, it was a deliberate choice, one that pushed Ukraine into a war it was never meant to win.
Had we equipped the Ukrainians at that time with proper weaponry, they might have been able to drive the Russians all the way out of the country. It didn't happen. It set the stage for this longer, protracted, drawn-out, meat-grinder war that we are witnessing today.
His revelations raise a haunting question. Was Ukraine ever anything more than a pawn in the West's proxy war?